Planning to visit New Orleans? This city has such a unique atmosphere and so many attractions and landmarks to offer. Let's start with Jackson Square. This is the heart of the French Quarter, and perhaps the heart of New Orleans from the very start. In the past, this is where you could have seen a public execution. But today, the most you're going to find are street artists who would love to paint your portrait. When visiting the square, don't miss a great photo opportunity in front of the historic St. Louis Cathedral, Cabildo, and the Presbytery buildings. At number 9, we have a cemetery. It's rare to find a city that considers most of its cemeteries as tourist attractions. But the combination of the above-ground burial and the history of voodoo and black magic made the cemeteries of New Orleans extremely popular with tourists. At the number 8 spot, we take a break from the hot and humid New Orleans weather, and we escape to one place that can almost guarantee you a nice breeze: the Moonwalk Riverside Promenade. Located not far away from Jackson Square, Moonwalk offers you a way to take a break from your sightseeing, see the Mississippi, watch some steamboats, and enjoy street performers and acrobats. In 7th place, we go back to the French Quarter to find another popular destination, Royal Street. This is probably the most beautiful and elegant street in the French Quarter. When visiting Royal Street, head to the section known as the Upper French Quarter, where you'll find some famous antique shops and art galleries. Our tip: visit Royal Street during the afternoon in the area between St. Anne and St. Louis Street. This area becomes closed to traffic and it attracts numerous street performers. Next, we have the National World War II Museum. It is very rare to see a national museum outside of Washington, D.C., but New Orleans won the honor of housing this museum thanks to the famous Higgins boats. Manufactured here in New Orleans, these boats carried the troops to the Normandy shores on D-Day. In 5th place, we have the Garden District, an extremely popular tourist destination in New Orleans. Second only to the famous French Quarter, the Garden District is an elegant and beautiful residential district that managed to preserve its 19th century mansions. The most interesting and historical mansions are located on Coliseum and Prytania Streets. Unlike the hectic nature of the French Quarter, the Garden District is all about peaceful walks. Reaching number 4, we have the Superdome. This is one of the modern symbols of New Orleans and is one of the biggest stadiums in the States. It opened in 1975 on a former cemetery site. It's the home of the New Orleans Saints. The dome also acts as a hurricane shelter, but unfortunately it did not manage to handle the power of Hurricane Katrina, when more than 30,000 locals were stranded here for 6 days. The dome was reopened after renovation in 2006. In 3rd place, we bring you some art and culture. The New Orleans Art Museum and the adjacent sculpture garden remind us that this city has many faces. The museum has a collection of more than 40,000 pieces of art, including the works of Picasso, Monet, and Matisse. The adjoining sculpture garden is free to enter and shows the works of Rodin, Renier, and Henry Moore. Almost at the top, in 2nd place, we find New Orleans Jazz. Yes, it's not really a place, but a visit to New Orleans has to include at least one visit to a jazz venue. If you're on a tight schedule, you may prefer to take a jazz cruise with a live jazz band, so you can combine some good music with some sightseeing. Finally, at the top, and it has to be Bourbon Street, the most popular and colorful street in the French Quarter. Historically, this was the red light district of the city. This is the home of the Mardi Gras Festival. But it's extremely popular 365 days a year. Bourbon Street is the home to the oldest bar in the United States, the Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop. And to the Pat O'Brien's Bar, where both the dueling piano show and the Hurricane cocktail were invented.